Kira watched the human female from the shadows of the repair shop. The tall, blue-skinned alien had been observing Kate for many days now, studying her movements and habits. The human worked with such precision on the strange mechanical devices. Kira found it fascinating how these primitives could create such interesting things with basic tools and materials. Kate wiped sweat from her forehead, leaving a streak of grease as she focused on the engine part in front of her. She had no idea she was being watched. Her red hair was tied back in a messy ponytail as she hummed a tune to herself. The small repair shop was filled with parts, tools, and the smell of oil. Kira shifted her weight, accidentally knocking over a metal tool. The sound echoed through the quiet workshop. Kate spun around, her eyes widening at the sight of the 7-foot-tall alien female standing in the corner of her garage. Instead of screaming or running away, Kate simply put her hands on her hips. "Who are you and what are you doing in my workshop?" Kira stepped forward into the light, her silver hair shimmering around her blue face. "I am Kira, third handmaiden to the 7th house of Vexilia," she said in carefully practiced English. "I have come to offer myself as your servant." Kate blinked in surprise. This had to be the strangest thing to happen since humans made first contact with the Vexilians last year. "My servant? Why would you want that?" Kira kept her eyes down, as was proper when addressing a potential mistress. "On my world, to serve is the highest honor, especially to serve one who creates as you do. The machines you build, they hold great power." Kate glanced back at the motorcycle engine she was rebuilding. "It's just an engine. Not even a particularly good one, but you understand it." Kira insisted with passion in her voice. "You know how to make it work again. On my world, such knowledge is sacred." Kate studied the alien with newfound curiosity. The Vexilians were known to be advanced but very traditional. Their society was built on complex systems of service and honor. What Kate didn't understand was why this alien had chosen her. Nobody important. Kira. Just a mechanic from a small town. Kira finally looked up, her silver eyes shimmering. "That is why. You are perfect. You create with your hands, you understand machines, you are worthy." Kate had heard stories about Vexilian culture, how they valued certain skills in ways that seemed strange to humans. The government had warned about cultural misunderstandings, but no one had mentioned anything about aliens showing up in personal garages offering to be servants. "I can't accept that, Kira. We don't do servants here on Earth." The alien straightened her posture, her expression shifting to one of confusion. "But how do you show honor? How do you form bonds between people?" Kate considered the question. It was a fair point. Humans had their own systems of relationships, just different ones. "Maybe I could use an assistant in the shop," she suggested. "Someone to help me with projects. Someone I could teach." Kira's expression brightened. "An apprentice? This is acceptable. The bond between teacher and student is sacred among my people as well." Kate nodded, still not entirely convinced this was a good idea. But her curiosity about Vexilian technology outweighed her hesitation. Besides, she had always wanted to learn more about the aliens who had changed humanity forever when they arrived. "You can't just live in my garage, though," Kate said. "We need to make this official. Get you proper papers." Kira bowed deeply. "I have all necessary documentation. The embassy has approved my request for cultural exchange." She produced a small crystal device which projected official-looking documents into the air. Kate reviewed the floating text, surprised at how thoroughly Kira had planned this. The alien had legal permission to stay on Earth for up to 5 years as part of a cultural exchange program. She had even listed Kate's address as her host, though Kate had no memory of agreeing to this. "Did you hack our systems to put my name down?" "Kira." The alien looked shocked. "I would never dishonor you with such deception. The embassy selected you based on my request. They believed you would be an ideal host based on your skills and personality." Kate raised an eyebrow. "What exactly did they tell you about me?" Kira straightened proudly. "Catherine Lynn Hughes, age 32, owner of Hughes Mechanical Repair Specialist in Engine Restoration, respected in your community for honesty and good work. You live alone with no family. Your house has enough space for a Vexilian guest." Kate felt a chill run down her spine. That was uncomfortably accurate. How much did these aliens know about everyone on Earth? So you just picked me from some alien database, Kira. Tilted her head. I observed many humans first. You were the most suitable. Your spirit shows creation and honor. Kate wasn't sure whether to be flattered or concerned. She looked at the alien standing awkwardly in her garage. Kira seemed sincere, if a bit formal and strange. Those silver eyes held intelligence and something Kate recognized as hope. "All right," she said. "Finally. You can stay, but we're not doing this servant thing. You're my assistant. We're colleagues, understand?" Kira considered this assistant is acceptable, but I must honor you as tradition demands. Well, figure it out, Kate said, picking up her wrench again. Now, since you're here, make yourself useful and hand me that tool. Box. Kira moved with surprising grace for someone so tall. She selected the correct tools without being told which ones Kate needed. It was almost as if she could anticipate what the human wanted, you know. Engines, Kate observed. Kira nodded. The principles are similar across galaxies, though your methods are unique. They have a simple beauty. Kate smiled despite herself. Maybe having an alien assistant wouldn't be so bad. As days passed, Kira proved herself helpful in the workshop. Her knowledge of materials and energy systems far exceeded Kate's, though the alien claimed to be learning more from the human than she was teaching. Word spread quickly through the small town about Kate's new alien assistant. Some people came to the shop just to see the Vexillian, others stayed away afraid of the stranger. Why would one of them want to work for a human? Tina, from the local diner, asked one day. They think they're so much better than us with their advanced technology. Kate had grown protective of Kira. It's a cultural exchange, she explained. She teaches me about Vexillian engineering. I teach her about human creativity. Everyone benefits, but not everyone was as accepting. The town had its share of people who feared anything different, anything they didn't understand. Kate worried about what might happen if that fear turned to anger. Kira seemed unbothered by the curious stares and whispered comments. She focused on learning everything Kate could teach her, about engines, about humans, about Earth. At night they would sit on Kate's porch, looking up at the stars. Kira would point out her home system, a faint light barely visible to human eyes. Do you miss it? Kate asked one evening. Kira was quiet for a long moment. Yes and no. She finally answered. My world is beautiful but changing. The old ways are being forgotten. That is why I'm here to preserve what matters. Kate didn't fully understand, but she nodded. She knew what it was like to value things others thought outdated. Her love of mechanical engines in an increasingly electronic world was similar in some ways. As the first month of their arrangement came to an end, Kate realized how quickly she had grown used to having Kira around. The alien had become more than just an assistant. She had become a friend, and on a small planet in a vast galaxy, two very different beings began to build a bridge between worlds, one tool, one engine, one conversation at a time. The morning sun filtered through the workshop windows as Kate and Kira worked side by side on a classic car engine. The human and the alien had fallen into a comfortable routine over the past 2 months. Kate teaching Kira about Earth machines, while Kira shared insights from her advanced world. Kate looked up from the carburetor she was cleaning to watch Kira expertly reassemble a transmission. The alien's four-fingered hands moved with incredible precision. Her blue skin seemed to glow in the sunlight. How can you understand these Earth machines so quickly? Kate asked. I thought Vexillian technology was way beyond ours. Kira smiled, a gesture she had adopted from her human friend. The principles remain the same across the stars, she explained, only the materials and methods differ. Your engines speak the same language as ours, just with a different accent. Kate laughed at the comparison. She had grown comfortable with Kira's presence. The alien's formal mannerisms had softened somewhat, though she still insisted on certain traditions from her homeworld. Their work was interrupted by a loud knock on the workshop door. Kate wiped her hands on a rag and went to answer it. Outside stood Mayor Wilson, a man who had made his dislike of aliens well known since first contacts. Hughes, the mayor said stiffly, his eyes darting past her to where Kira stood. We need to talk about your arrangement with the alien. Kate crossed her arms. Her name is Kira. And what about our arrangement? The mayor cleared his throat. Several citizens have expressed concerns about having one of them living among us. The town council is considering a new ordinance restricting alien residents to the designated diplomatic zone. Kate felt anger rising in her chest. That's ridiculous. Kira has all the proper documentation. She's here legally as part of the cultural exchange program. The mayor looked uncomfortable but stood his ground. Times are uncertain. Ms. Hughes, people are scared. They don't understand why these aliens are really here. Kate glanced back at Kira, who had gone very still, her silver eyes watching the exchange. Why don't you ask her yourself, Mayor? The man shook his head. No need, I just came to give you fair warning. The vote is next week. You might want to make other arrangements before then. After he left, Kate slammed the door in frustration. I can't believe this. They can't just force you to leave. Kira placed a gentle hand on Kate's shoulder. Their fear is natural, she said. Many on my world feared humans when your ships first appeared in our skies. Fear of the unknown is universal, but it's wrong. Kate insisted, you haven't done anything to harm anyone. You've been nothing but helpful. Kira moved to the workbench and carefully put down her tools. This is why I chose you, Kate. You see beyond appearances to what matters, but not all can do this. Kate spent the next days visiting everyone she knew in town, trying to change minds about the proposed ordinance. Some were sympathetic, but many others shared the mayor's concerns. What do we really know about these aliens? What's their real purpose here? These questions echoed through town meetings and diner conversations. Kira, meanwhile, seemed to withdraw into herself. She continued working alongside Kate, but spoke less often. Her formal Vexillian manner returned stronger than before. One night, as they sat on the porch, Kate finally confronted her. You've changed. What's wrong? Kira looked up at the stars for a long moment before answering. I have failed in my mission, she said quietly. I came to learn from you to preserve knowledge, but I have brought trouble instead. Kate shook her head. You haven't failed anything. This isn't your fault. The alien turned to face her. Truth must be exchanged. For truth, Kate Hughes. I did not tell you everything about why I came to Earth. Kate felt a chill that had nothing to do with the evening air. What do you mean? My house is dying. Kira said. My bloodline. The third handmaidens of the seventh house once, numbered in the thousands. Now we are fewer than 20. Our knowledge, our traditions are being lost as the young ones leave for the stars. They see our ways as outdated, unnecessary. Kate listened silently as Kira continued. I came seeking, not just to learn, but to preserve. To find someone who would value what I know. Someone who understands that old ways still hold wisdom. I came to serve because service is how my people pass knowledge from generation to generation. Kate finally understood. The cultural exchange wasn't just about sharing information. It was about survival, Kira's survival, and the survival of everything she represented. Why didn't you just tell me this from the beginning? Kate asked. Kira lowered her eyes. Would you have understood? A stranger from the stars speaking of dying traditions, would you have believed the urgency? Kate had to admit she probably wouldn't have. She reached out and took Kira's hand, surprising the alien with the gesture. We're going to fix this, Kira. Both are problems. The town council and your dying house. The next day, Kate called an emergency town meeting. She stood before her neighbors with Kira at her side. This is Kira, she began. My friend and assistant. She came to Earth not to spy on us or take our jobs, but to save something precious. Something I think we all understand. Kate gestured to the older residents in the crowd. How many of you remember skills your grandparents taught you? Skills that are being forgotten. How to preserve food without refrigeration. How to repair rather than replace. How to read the weather without technology. Murmurs spread through the room as people nodded in recognition. Kira's. People are losing their traditions too. Kate continued. Their young people are forgetting the old ways just like ours are. By sharing knowledge, we both preserve something valuable, something that might otherwise be lost forever. An elderly woman stood up from her seat, I teach quilting classes at the community center, she said. Not many young people interested these days, but the patterns those quilts tell stories that shouldn't be forgotten. Others began to speak, sharing their own concerns about lost traditions. From farming techniques to old family recipes, the town realized. They shared Kira's fear that important knowledge was vanishing. Mayor Wilson watched the mood of the room shift. Reluctantly, he stood. What exactly are you proposing? Ms. Hughes, Kate smiled. We expand the cultural exchange. Make it a two-way street, Kira. Shares Vexillian knowledge with us, we share human traditions with her. We document it all, preserving both our cultures. The crowd liked this idea. Slowly, the fear and suspicion began to transform into curiosity and interest over the following weeks. The entire tone of the town changed. The community center became a hub of activity as Kira demonstrated Vexillian art and science. While townspeople shared their own skills and traditions, Kate watched with pride as her friend moved from outsider to valued community member. The proposed alien restriction ordinance was quietly abandoned, replaced with an official sister city agreement with Kira's home settlement on Vexillian. The workshop late one evening. Kira approached Kate with a small, crystal device. I have something to show you, she said, activating the device. A holographic image appeared showing dozens of blue-skinned Vexillians gathered in a grand hall. The third handmaidens, she explained. They have heard of our work here. They wish to come to Earth to learn as I have learned. Kate stared at the image in amazement. More of them. Here, Kira nodded. If you will accept them, other towns, other teachers. Your mayor has agreed in principle, but the final decision is yours. You were the first to welcome one of us. Kate thought about how much her life had changed since Kira had appeared in her workshop. How much the town had changed. The fear had been replaced with something new. Something better. We'll need a bigger workshop, she said with a smile. Kira bowed deeply, her silver hair falling forward in the traditional gesture of gratitude. You honor us, Catherine Hughes. Kate shook her head. No more of that bowing stuff. We're partners, remember. The alien straightened a small smile, playing on her blue lips. Partners in preservation, she agreed. Outside, the stars shone brightly in the night sky. One of them, Kira's home. And now, through an unexpected friendship, that home seemed much closer than before. 6 months had passed since the first group of Vexillian handmaidens arrived in town. The small community that had once feared aliens now hosted 15 of the tall, blue-skinned women, each paired with a local mentor, learning Earth ways while sharing their own ancient knowledge. Kate stood beside Kira, watching as the newest Vexillian arrival, named Tala, practiced welding under the guidance of Betty, the town's oldest mechanic. The sight still amazed her sometimes. How quickly things had changed. Mayor Wilson approached them, his previous hostility replaced with cautious respect. The Sister City Committee wants to discuss expanding the program, he said. Several neighboring towns have expressed interest in hosting handmaidens of their own. Kira nodded, her silver hair catching the sunlight. We have many sisters eager to come, many houses whose knowledge deserves preservation. The mayor hesitated. There are still concerns at the national level. Some officials worry about security implications. Sharing. Too much advanced technology, Kate jumped in. The handmaidens aren't sharing anything that could be dangerous, Mayor. You know that their focus is on art, medicine, agriculture, the kinds of knowledge that helps people, not harms them. Before the mayor could respond, a sleek silver vehicle descended from the sky landing in the town square. Unlike the simple shuttles, the handmaidens had arrived in this craft, bore the elaborate markings of Vexillian nobility. Kira straightened her posture, suddenly formal and tense. The High Matriarch, she whispered. She comes in person. This is unprecedented. Kate watched as the craft's door opened and a regal Vexillian emerged. Her blue skin was darker than the others, her silver hair elaborately braided with glowing crystals. She stood nearly 8 feet tall and moved with incredible grace. The handmaidens, including Kira, immediately dropped to one knee, bowing their heads. Kate had never seen her friend show such deference. The High Matriarch surveyed the town, her gaze eventually landing on Kate. She approached with measured steps. "I am Celine, matriarch of all Vexillian houses," she announced, her voice musical yet commanding. "You are Catherine Hughes, the one who accepted Kira when others would not." Kate nodded, suddenly aware of how many people were watching. "Yes, that's me." The matriarch gestured for the handmaidens to rise. "You have done something remarkable, human. You have reversed the decline of an ancient lineage because of your acceptance." The third handmaidens now grow in number again. Young Vexillians seek to join their ranks, inspired by stories of Earth. Kate glanced at Kira, who stood with perfect posture, her expression unreadable. "I just treated Kira with respect. That's all." The matriarch made a gesture. Kate didn't understand it was more than that. "You recognized value where others saw only difference. You preserved knowledge others would discard. This resonates deeply with our people." Mayor Wilson stepped forward, clearing his throat. "We're honored by your visit, High Matriarch. If there's anything we can do to make you comfortable during your stay." The matriarch's attention shifted to him. "My stay will be brief. I come with both gratitude and warning." A murmur ran through the gathered crowd. "Warning, the alliance between our worlds is young and fragile," the matriarch explained. "Not all Vexillians support this exchange. Not all humans welcome us. There are those on both sides who would see our peoples separated by fear and mistrust." Kate felt a chill. "Despite the warm day, what do you mean exactly?" The High Matriarch looked skyward. "Some in your government believe we share too much with you. They fear Vexillian knowledge in human hands. Others among my people believe we diminish ourselves by walking among lesser beings. Both are wrong. Both are dangerous." Kira moved to stand beside Kate, her formal manner softening slightly. "What can we do?" Matriarch. The tall alien surveyed the town, taking in the sight of humans and Vexillians working side by side. "What you are already doing. Continue to build bridges of understanding. Show both our worlds what is possible when we share rather than hoard knowledge." Later that evening, after the matriarch had returned to her ship, Kate and Kira sat on the porch of Kate's house watching the stars appear. "You never told me you were important enough to bring a matriarch to Earth," Kate said. Kira looked embarrassed. "I did not know my actions would draw such attention." "I am but one handmaiden." Kate studied her friend suspiciously. "You've been sending reports back to your people, haven't you? Telling them about us, about me?" Kira nodded. "It is required. The exchange must be documented. But I have shared only what honors you. Kate, I would never betray your trust." Kate believed. Her after months of working together, she knew Kira valued honesty above all else. "Why did you choose me?" She asked the question that had lingered since their first meeting. "Why out of all humans did you pick a small-town mechanic?" Kira was quiet for a moment. "I observed many humans first. Scholars, scientists, leaders. None were suitable. Why not?" The alien looked up at the stars. Their knowledge was great, but their hearts were closed. They sought Vexillian secrets to advance themselves, not to preserve wisdom. They did not understand the sacred nature of what was being offered, and I did. Kira turned to face her. "You fix broken things, Kate. You see value in what others would discard. Your hands build and restore. You understand that some knowledge cannot be replaced once it is lost." The next morning, Kate woke to find the town in chaos. Several government vehicles had arrived overnight. Men in suits were demanding access to the Vexillian shuttles and questioning the handmaidens about their technology. Kate found Kira standing rigidly as a man in a dark suit held a scanner over her. The alien looked more afraid than Kate had ever seen her. "Hey!" Kate shouted, pushing through the crowd. "What do you think you're doing?" The man turned to her national security. "Mom, please step back." Kate planted herself between him and Kira. "These aliens are here as part of an official cultural exchange program. They have diplomatic status." Another suited man approached. "This is beyond local jurisdiction. Ms. Hughes, we're investigating unauthorized technology transfer." Mayor Wilson joined them, flanked by several town council members. We have all the proper documentation for this program. He insisted everything has been approved at the highest levels. The government agent was unmoved. There's concern that certain elements of Vexillian knowledge could be weaponized. We're here to ensure that isn't happening. Kira spoke up, her voice steady, despite her obvious discomfort. The handmaidens share only knowledge of creation, never destruction. This is our most sacred law. The agents looked unconvinced. We have our orders. For 3 days the agents searched the town, examining everything the Vexillians had brought with them, questioning the handmaidens and their human mentors. The residents grew increasingly angry at the intrusion, but Kate urged patience. The High Matriarch's ship remained in orbit, a silent reminder of the delicate balance between their worlds. On the 4th day, the agents finally announced they had found nothing of open concern. The handmaiden's knowledge, while advanced, posed no security threat to Earth. The cultural exchange could continue as the government vehicles departed. Kate found Kira standing alone by the workshop. Her friend seemed troubled. You knew this would happen, didn't you? She asked. Kira nodded. It was inevitable. Fear always follows first contact. It happened on my world too. When humans first arrived, Kate leaned against her workbench. The matriarch didn't just happen to visit. She came because she knew the government was getting suspicious. The alien inclined her head. She came to show support, to demonstrate that this exchange has the highest approval of my people. Kate shook her head, still processing everything. The suited men, the scanners, the questions. It had all felt so invasive. But through it all, the handmaidens had remained calm, dignified. Do you ever regret coming here? Kate asked. When things get difficult like this? Kira considered the question. Never, she said finally. On Vexilia, I was one voice speaking for tradition, easily ignored. Here on Earth, I am heard, I am valued. What we build together matters, Kate. It will outlast both of us. Kate nodded, her determination renewed. If government agents and suspicious mayors couldn't stop them, nothing would. The knowledge exchange between humans and Vexillians would continue growing stronger with each passing day. That evening, the residents held an impromptu celebration in the town square. Humans and Vexillians sharing food, music, and stories. The High Matriarch's ship glowed softly in the night sky, a silver crescent watching over them. Kate noticed Kira standing apart from the festivities, her gaze fixed on the distant ship. You miss home, she said, joining her friend. Kira turned, silver eyes reflecting the stars. Sometimes, but I have found a new home here. Kate, a place where the old ways can live again. Their conversation was interrupted by Betty, the old mechanic who had been teaching Tala. She approached with a small wooden box. This is for you, Kira, she said, opening it to reveal an antique wrench. My grandfather made this tool by hand. I want you to have it. To remember that humans value tradition too. Kira accepted the gift with a formal bow, her eyes shimmering with emotion. I will treasure it always. As the celebration continued, Kate watched her friend integrate so seamlessly with the townspeople. It was hard to believe there had ever been fear or suspicion between them. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever opposition they might face from either world, Kate knew one thing with absolute certainty. What had begun with a desperate alien appearing in her workshop had transformed into something beautiful, something that would change both their worlds forever. 5 years had passed since the day Kira first appeared in Kate's workshop. The small town had transformed beyond recognition. The Vexillian Academy now stood where once there had been only empty fields. Its graceful silver towers and crystal domes housed hundreds of handmaidens and thousands of human students. Kate walked through the academy gardens, her boots crunching on the gravel path. She no longer spent her days fixing engines. Now she served as the human director of the academy, working alongside Kira to manage the ever-expanding exchange of knowledge. Kate spotted her friend beneath a flowering tree. The tall blue alien was demonstrating a traditional Vexillian weaving technique to a group of elderly human women. Her silver hair, had grown longer over the years, now reaching past her waist, braided with small crystals that marked her elevated status among her people. Kira noticed Kate and excused herself from the lesson. Together, they walked toward the main academy building. "The ambassador has arrived." Kira said, her English now perfect after years on Earth. "She awaits us in the council chamber." Kate nodded, feeling a familiar flutter of nervousness, despite her years of diplomatic experience. Meetings with Earth government officials always made her tense, especially since the cultural exchange had become so politically important. In the council chamber, they found a stern-looking woman in a dark suit flanked by aides. Ambassador Laurel had been appointed by the new administration to oversee all alien relations. Her reputation for tough negotiations preceded her. Director Hughes, Ambassador Laurel said with a curt nod. "And handmaiden Kira, I appreciate you meeting with me on such short notice." Kate gestured to the chairs arranged around a circular table. "Of course, Ambassador, what's so urgent?" The ambassador sat down, placing a tablet on the table. "The situation has changed. The president believes it's time to re-evaluate the terms of the cultural exchange." Kate felt. Kira stiffened beside her. "What exactly does that mean?" she asked, keeping her voice level. Ambassador Laurel swiped through documents on her tablet. "The exchange program has grown beyond its original scope. What began as a simple sharing of cultural knowledge has expanded into technology, transfer, advanced sciences, and engineering." Kira leaned forward. "That was always the intention, Ambassador. Knowledge cannot be compartmentalized. Cultural understanding leads naturally to scientific collaboration." The ambassador looked unconvinced. "The administration is concerned about the balance of this exchange. The handmaidens share knowledge freely, but there are still many Vexillian technologies your people withhold from us." Kate had heard this complaint before. Earth governments growing impatient for the advanced spaceflight and energy technologies that the Vexillians considered too dangerous to share. Ambassador, the Academy follows the guidelines established by both our worlds. Kate said, "Our focus remains on sustainable technologies, environmental restoration, medical advances, the kinds of knowledge that help, rather than harm." Ambassador Laurel smiled thinly. "The president feels it's time to expand those guidelines. The Vexillians have benefited greatly from human creativity and innovation. It's only fair they share more of their advanced capabilities in return." Kate glanced at Kira, seeing the concern in her silver eyes. They both knew what the ambassador was really asking for. Weapons energy, systems that could be weaponized, technologies that violated the handmaiden's most sacred principles. "We will convey your request to the High Matriarch," Kira said formally. "But I must remind you that some knowledge is restricted by our most ancient laws." The ambassador stood, gathering her materials. "I hoped you'd be more receptive, both of you. After all, this academy exists on Earth, soil under Earth jurisdiction. The president has authorized me to remind you that our government can review the academy's status at any time." After she left, Kate slumped in her chair. This is exactly what we feared would happen eventually. Governments wanting more than we're able to give. Kira placed a reassuring hand on Kate's shoulder. "It was inevitable. The pattern repeats throughout history. Knowledge sought for power rather than wisdom." "What do we do now?" Kate asked. The alien stood looking out through the crystal windows at the academy grounds. "We continue our work, Kate. We protect what matters most. The exchange of knowledge that preserves rather than destroys." That evening they called an emergency meeting of the Academy Council. Both human and Vexillian teachers gathered in the Great Hall to discuss the ambassador's visit. "The threat is clear," said Betty, now elderly but still fiercely protective of the Academy. "They want our technology or they'll shut us down." Others voiced similar concerns. The government had always been supportive of the exchange program, but the new administration seemed determined to extract more tangible benefits. Kira listened to all viewpoints before speaking. "When I first came to Earth," she began, her voice carrying through the hall, "I came seeking preservation. My house was dying, our traditions fading. I was desperate, willing to serve as a mere handmaiden if it meant our knowledge would survive." The room was silent as she continued. What I found here was something greater than mere survival. I found renewal. Through sharing with humans, the third handmaidens have grown stronger. Our traditions now flourish on two worlds. The knowledge we feared would be lost will now endure for generations. Kate watched her friend with pride, remembering the formal alien who had appeared in her workshop 5 years ago. So different now, so confident, Kira turned to face the council. We cannot give what the ambassador demands, she declared, but we can offer something more valuable. The next morning, Kate and Kira stood before Ambassador Laurel in the council chamber. The diplomat looked expectant, awaiting their capitulation. Instead, Kira activated a small crystal device projecting images of stars and planets between them. What you see is the Vexillian home system, Kira explained, the 7 worlds of our people. For thousands of years, we lived in isolation, believing ourselves alone in the universe. The projection shifted, showing ships traveling between stars. Then we discovered other worlds, other beings. Many were hostile. Some sought to take our technology by force. She looked directly at the ambassador. We survived by sharing only what would not harm others or ourselves. Kate stepped forward. Ambassador, we cannot give you weapons or technologies that could be misused, but we can offer you the stars. The ambassador looked confused. What exactly do you mean? Kate gestured to the projection. The handmaidens have agreed to share their star mapping technology, their navigation systems, their methods for identifying habitable worlds. There are 15 Earth-like planets within reach of your current spacecraft technology. You already possess. Ambassador Laurel stared at the shimmering projection, her expression changing from confusion to wonder. 15 habitable worlds. Kira nodded. You seek power on one world, we offer you 15 new ones, not to conquer but to settle, to explore, to preserve Earth itself by expanding beyond it. The ambassador was silent for a long moment. The president expected me to return with weapons or energy systems. She admitted. Kate smiled. Then imagine his reaction when you bring him the stars instead. In the months that followed, the Academy worked closely with Earth scientists to implement the star mapping technology. Expeditions were planned to the nearest habitable worlds. Human ingenuity combined with Vexillian navigation created something neither civilization could have achieved alone. Kate stood on the hill overlooking the Academy, watching as the first joint human-Vexillian exploration vessel prepared for launch. The sleek ship gleamed in the sunlight, a testament to what their partnership had accomplished. Kira joined her wearing the formal robes of a high handmaiden. The silver embroidery marked her new status as leader of all third handmaidens, a position she had earned through her work on Earth. Did you ever imagine this? Kate asked, gesturing to the Academy, the ship. The thousands of people gathered to witness the launch. When you first came to my workshop, Kira smiled, a gesture that had become natural to her over the years. I imagined only survival, Kate. The preservation of what was precious I never dreamed of. Renaissance Kate took her friend's hand, the blue skin no longer strange to her touch. That desperate alien who begged to be my servant. She gave humanity the stars. Kira squeezed Kate's hand. And that stubborn human mechanic who refused to accept a servant. She saved an ancient house from extinction. Together they watched as the ship rose into the sky, carrying the hopes of two worlds. The first of many such voyages, a bridge between stars built by an unlikely friendship. Above them, the High Matriarch's vessel hung in orbit, a guardian watching over the Academy. Even now, after 5 years, the Matriarch took personal interest in the exchange program. Understanding its importance to both civilizations as darkness fell, Kate and Kira remained on the hillside watching the stars appear. One by one, they filled the night sky. Each a destination, each a possibility, each a promise that the knowledge they had worked so hard to preserve would continue to grow and flourish. Do you still miss home? Kate asked, as they had asked each other many times over the years. Kira looked up at the faint blue star that marked her birthplace. I am home, she said simply. Where knowledge is valued, where tradition lives, where the future grows from the wisdom of the past. That is home. Kate nodded, understanding completely. The desperate alien had found what she sought. Not a master to serve, but a place to belong. A world where her knowledge, her very existence mattered. 1 year had passed since Kira first appeared in Kate's workshop. The cultural exchange program had flourished beyond anyone's expectations. What began with a single desperate alien seeking to preserve her traditions had grown into a movement spanning dozens of towns. Kate wiped grease from her hands as she watched Kira teach a group of human children about Vexillian star navigation. The tall blue alien used a small projector to create a miniature galaxy above their heads. The children gasped in wonder as Kira moved stars and planets with graceful gestures of her four-fingered hands. This was the new normal in their town. Vexillians teaching humans their ancient knowledge, while humans shared their own traditions. Skills that had been dying out on both worlds were finding new life through this unexpected partnership. Kate smiled as she remembered how afraid everyone had been at first. How suspicious. Now the handmaidens were beloved members of the community, their blue skin and silver hair no longer drawing stares but warm greetings. Mayor Wilson approached Kate, his expression serious. "We need to talk," he said, gesturing toward his office. Inside, Kate found several town council members and 2 representatives from the Vexillian embassy. The atmosphere was tense. "What's going on?" Kate asked. The mayor sighed heavily. "There's been an incident. A Vexillian shuttle was attacked while approaching." Kate felt her stomach drop. "Was anyone hurt?" One of the Vexillian representatives spoke. Up 3 handmaidens were injured. None critically. But this marks a disturbing escalation. Who would do such a thing? Kate demanded. The mayor shook his head. A human extremist group calling themselves Earth First. They believe aliens are corrupting humanity, stealing our uniqueness. They see the knowledge exchange as a threat. Kate thought of Kira and the other handmaidens peacefully teaching children about stars. They were the opposite of a threat. "What happens now?" she asked. The Vexillian diplomat looked grave. "The High Council is debating whether to recall all handmaidens for their safety." "No," Kate protested. "That would be giving in to exactly what these extremists want." The council members exchanged glances. "The situation is complicated, Kate," the mayor said. "The attack has caused diplomatic tensions. Security forces want to restrict alien movement until the perpetrators are caught." Kate left the meeting feeling sick with worry. She found Kira in the workshop carefully repairing an antique clock, the kind no one made anymore. "Have you heard?" Kate asked. Kira nodded, not looking up from her delicate work. "Word travels quickly between sisters. Will you have to leave?" The alien finally raised her silver eyes. "I do not know. The matriarch will decide. For all of us, it is our way." Kate felt a surge of frustration. "That isn't fair. You should be able to choose for yourself." Kira set down her tools. "I chose once, Kate. When I came to Earth. That choice changed everything for my people. I must accept the consequences, whatever they may be." Later that night, a town meeting was called. The community center was packed with humans and Vexillians alike, all concerned about the future of the exchange. Program Mayor Wilson tried to maintain order as he did. Opinions flew from all sides. Some residents worried about safety. Others refused to let fear dictate their actions. A man Kate recognized as a regular customer at her shop stood up. "These aliens have brought nothing but trouble to our town," he shouted. "First government agents, now terrorists. What next?" Several people booed him down, but Kate could see his words resonated with some. The fear was returning. She made her way to the front of the room. "Excuse me," she called out. "I have something to say." Crowd quieted as Kate took the microphone. "A year ago, I was just a mechanic fixing engines in my garage, then Kira showed up offering to be my servant." She paused, looking at her friend in the audience. "I said no to that, but yes to a partnership, and look what that partnership has created." She gestured to the room filled with humans and aliens working together. Our town was dying before the Vexillians came. Young people were leaving. Businesses were closing. Traditional skills were being forgotten. The handmaidens didn't take anything from us. They gave us back our future, Murmurs of agreement spread through the crowd. Kate continued. These Earth First terrorists, they don't speak for humanity. They don't speak for our town. They speak only for fear. And if we let fear win, if we send the handmaidens away, we're no better than those terrorists. The room erupted in applause. Kira watched Kate, her silver eyes shimmering with emotion. Mayor Wilson took back the microphone. What do you suggest we do then? Kate looked around the room at the faces of her neighbors, both human and Vexillian. We protect each other, she said simply. We show both our worlds that what's happening here is worth defending. The mayor nodded thoughtfully and turned to the Vexillian representatives. Will you take our message to the High Matriarch? Tell her we stand with the handmaidens. One of the blue-skinned diplomats bowed formally. We will convey your words. But the decision remains with the matriarchs. The meeting disbanded. Kate found Kira waiting outside, looking up at the stars. Where is your home? Kate asked, following her friends. Kira pointed to a faint blue star barely visible in the night sky. There. The 7th planet of the Vexillian system. Do you think you'll ever see it again? The alien was quiet for a moment. I hope so. One day, but not yet. There is still much work to be done here. 3 days later, the High Matriarch's ship appeared in orbit around Earth. The silver vessel gleamed in the sunlight as it positioned itself directly above the town. A shuttle descended, landing in the town square. The High Matriarch emerged even more regal than Kate remembered. She stood before the gathered crowd, her dark blue skin and elaborate silver braids marking her as the highest authority of Vexillian society. I have heard your plea, the matriarch announced, her voice carrying easily across the square. I have seen your commitment to our sisters. Kate held her breath, waiting for the verdict. The matriarch continued. The easy path would be withdrawal, separation, safety. But the worthy path is seldom easy. She turned to face the handmaidens who knelt before her. The 3rd handmaidens came to Earth to preserve knowledge. They will remain to honor that purpose. A cheer went up from the crowd. The handmaidens would stay, but the matriarch raised her hand for silence. There must be changes, she declared, to ensure their safety and to expand their mission. Kate listened as the matriarch outlined a new structure for the exchange program. The handmaidens would establish a formal academy in the town, teaching Vexillian knowledge to any human who wished to learn. In return, human masters would be invited to Vexillia to share Earth traditions with young aliens. It was more than anyone had hoped for. A true bridge between worlds. As the crowd dispersed, discussing the exciting new developments, Kate found herself face to face with the High Matriarch. The tall alien regarded her with intense silver eyes. You have changed. The course of 2 civilizations, Catherine Hughes, the matriarch, said, her voice softer than before. Few beings can claim such influence. Kate shook her head. I just treated Kira like a person, not an alien. That's all. The matriarch made a gesture that Kate now recognized as respect. That simple act of recognition has rippled across the stars. In accepting one desperate handmaiden, you have revitalized an ancient lineage. Our numbers grow again. Our traditions strengthen. The young ones who once fled now return, eager to learn what was nearly lost. Kate felt overwhelmed by the matriarch's words. I never intended any of this. Intention matters less than action, human. The matriarch looked toward where Kira stood, supervising plans for the new academy. The 3rd handmaidens faced extinction before Kira found you. Now they will endure for generations. That night, Kate sat on her porch with Kira, watching the High Matriarch's ship gleam in the twilight sky. Did you know this would happen? Kate asked. When you first came to my workshop. Did you know how much would change? Kira shook her head. I knew only that I must try, that I could not watch my house fade into history without making one final effort to preserve what was precious. Kate took her friend's hand, feeling the strange texture of the alien's blue skin against her own. So much had changed in a year. So much would continue to change as their worlds grew closer. What happens next? Kate wondered. Kira smiled, a gesture she had learned from humans. We build, Catherine Hughes. We preserve what matters. We create something new from the wisdom of the old. Above them the stars began to appear, one by one, filling the sky with light. Somewhere among them a blue world circled a distant sun, a world that no longer seemed quite so far away. The bridge between Earth and Vexilia had been built, not by governments or armies, but by a mechanic who valued old engines and an alien who treasured ancient wisdom. Two beings who recognized in each other something worth preserving.